Network, coming at you from the great state of Louisiana with another mail day. It's mail day number 62. I try to keep these to about 8 to 15 minutes, depending on how many I've picked up. Today I've got a pretty good quantity of cards. I'm trying to think maybe 10 or 12 or something like that, but nothing exceptional or eye-popping. One card snuck into the four-figure range, but a lot of this is me tacking on cards in PSA 8 condition. And again, I'm specifically referring to Jordan cards, tacking on Jordan PSA 8s to kind of build that parallel PC that I've told you guys I'm working on, that sort of side Jordan PC where it's PSA 8 only, sort of the backup lower to mid-end Jordan collection to go along with what I'm striving for really is to build ultimately the high-end Jordan collection. But cards got so damn expensive, I wasn't getting enough mail days, so I needed to buy some cheap PSA 8s. And so a lot of people have asked me questions about that, on Instagram or sent me direct messages or maybe in the comments, hey, why are you putting together PSA 8s and PSA 10s? And it's really no rhyme or reason other than I'm OCD, and it's interesting to create pairings in the hobby. Sometimes it's a PSA 10 Jordan insert with a PSA 10 Shaq, who I also collect insert. Sometimes it's a Jordan 10 with a Jordan 8. Sometimes it's, two Jordan 10s. Sometimes it's two Jordan 8s. I don't know. I'm just OCD like that. And so what I've decided to do is have a high-end PSA 10 and BGS 9.5 Jordan collection, and then a little what I call a parallel or a low-end budget PC of Jordan stuff in PSA 8. Same exact cards, just in grade PSA 8, so I can buy, honest to God, sometimes you can buy 25 PSA 8s for the price of one PSA 10. It's that absurd. The dichotomy in price and the fluctuation from an 8 to a 10 is that severe that you can kind of grow your collection at 25x the pace. So without any more delay, let's get cranking. I've got them all pulled up here. As always, my cards are stored in the PWCC vault, as you can see. We'll just get cranking in order. And again, some of these are baby cards. I'm telling you, I picked these up either on the PWCC Weekly for cheap, or I snagged them on eBay. A bunch of these cards, I was flipping through buying cards on eBay during a legal seminar that I was sitting through, where when you're an attorney, and I'm sure it's the same when you're a doctor or an accountant or a veterinarian or whatever, you've got to get these continuing education hours every year. The type of law that I practice, nothing in the seminar has anything to do with what I do for a living. And so really there's no benefit to me paying attention. I need to show up, get my credits so I stay legal and can practice law in Louisiana and then keep moving. And so I took that time to do what you would expect me to do, buy Jordan cards on eBay. So while everybody else was paying attention to how to cross-examine a witness in a criminal trial, that means nothing to me. I'm a real estate attorney. I was buying these little baby Jordans. And so you'll see I've got a PSA 8 1997 Skybox Z-Force Jordan on your screen. Again, 20, 30, maybe dollar card. I don't remember. Something like that. Not really concerned about it. Again, it's a PSA 8. This is one of those base cards, though, that honestly could kind of pass as an insert. It's that cool looking and that unique and that different. I think Skybox really does pop. There's also a yellow card in the base set as well, the Superman card, which also looks like an insert, but it's really just a subset card. So that's card number one on your screen that you're looking at. Card number two is 1993 Hoops Michael Jordan Supreme Court. Again, this is a card number SC11. It's a PSA 8. It's a pretty good looking 8 copy. Honestly, you can see a little bit of whitening down here on these bottom corners, but that's kind of what you expect when you buy PSA 8s. So that Supreme Court PSA 8 is card number 2 in our mail day number 62. Card number 3, you guys know I love the Topps Gold. I think there's 3, I might be mistaken, but I think there's 3 different 1992 Topps Gold cards in the set, in the base set. And like, I think there's an all-star, there's a 50-point club, which is what you're looking at, the number 205. And then there's another just true base version. So I think there's 3. Comment below if I'm wrong. There might be more, but I know there's at least 3. There might be more, but this is the 1992 Topps Gold 50-point club in a PSA 8. Again, it's card number 205. And the way you can tell the difference is it's got gold foiling here instead of just your regular old print on the cover of the paper card. And so it's got a little bit of gold there. It's a really good looking card as far as centering goes. The eye appeal is pretty damn good for a PSA 8. So maybe it's something on the back, but the back even looks pretty good too. Maybe there's a print dot or a surface defect or something. I don't really know. I don't really care. Very low end card. Again, nothing crazy or special there. Here's a 1988 Fleer. This is the all-star card, of course, the 88 Fleer base. I think I showed you in mail day number 60. Oh, actually, I think I'm going to show it to you in this one. I think I picked these up at the same time. So I had a PSA 10 base. Had a PSA 10 88 Fleer and decided to put together the 8 and 8. And so I've got that kind of knocked off and marked off the list. Obviously, I've got 86 Fleer PSA 10 and PSA 10 sticker. I've got 86 Fleer PSA 8 and PSA 8 sticker. 87, I've got... I think actually I've got a BGS 9.5 and a PSA 8, and then I've got to work on the stickers in that one as well. So I've got work to do. I've got a lot of work to do on this PSA 8 collection. I've still got a lot of work to do on the high-end collection, but baby steps. It's a marathon, not a sprint. That's one of my favorite quotes. But this is the again, this might have been, other than maybe his 86 Fleer base card, this is about one of the best pictures of Jordan depicted on a basketball card that's out there. It's just a fantastic picture of when he did the spread the legs dunk, to just kind of throw a little bit extra flair into that dunk contest and do something a little different than just jumping from the free throw line like most people do. Here's the 88 Fleer. So now I have the 88 Fleer PSA 8. I've got the 88 Fleer PSA 10. Again, nothing sexy here. It is a base card, but I thought it was important enough with Jordan getting a jumper off, probably getting fouled by Kevin Willis, it looks like. But I really like this set. I remember ripping this set a little bit when I was a youngster. I would have been 1988. I'd have been 14 years old, probably a freshman in high school. I remember these were not highly sought after. Again, it's got some print defects on the back. You can see the whites down there, the little white spots, the print defects, and that's what makes 8s 8s, man. And that's what makes it cool. But eye appeal on the front is banging. It's spot on. So good looking PSA 8 on the front there. Again, these cards are not for flips. And so if you're screaming at your screen, hey, this guy's an idiot, he's buying these cards. There's too many PSA 888 Fleer Jordans out there. He's never going to be able to sell them. I agree. I'm not intending to sell them. I am not buying these cards to invest, to flip for a profit, okay? So just let that be known. I'm buying them because I love Jordan cards, even in PSA 8 condition, even in raw condition, even in PSA 6 condition. So it is what it is. These are PC cards to be held for Cajun eternity. The 1998 Hoops, it's affectionately known as the Shoutouts because that's what it says on the card, obviously, but it's a base card. It's card number 13. I think it's a base card. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think this is a base card. It just happened to say Shoutouts on it. 98 NBA Hoops, a good-looking PSA 8. Again, remember, when cards are primarily white, it's a lot easier to hide whitening of the edges and the corners because the card corners and edges are white. On the back is where you will probably start to see a little bit of defect, maybe some whitening along this left edge up here, and of course across the top right there. The darker the edges, the darker the corners, the more glaring any deficiencies in the condition of the card are always going to be. And so that is the next card on the list. Next, this is an interesting one. So okay, let me make sure I got this right. I may be wrong, but I think I sent this to PSA and I got like a PSA 5 or a 6. I did a video about it where I bitched and complained, which I rarely do. I was bitching and complaining. Got it back. I said, the hell with this. I'm not giving up. I cracked it. I sent it back, and I think they gave me an 8 the next time around. So I think it went from a 5 to an 8 or a 6 to an 8. Go back and check in my old archives, and you'll see. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I should, but it came back an 8, which is perfect because that's what I want. I'd almost rather an 8 than a 9 because I'm trying to collect 8s and 10s, and so I've actually got the 10 already. So here's the 10. Which is absolutely crystal clear, super clean. And then here's the 8, which is a little bit lighter brown. And so that might have had something to do with why I graded a little bit lower, as it didn't have the same, what's the word that vintage collectors like to use? Registry, I think. So the color is a little discolored, a little bit lighter brown, not quite as dark a brown. But anyway, that is the next card on the list, and happy to put the 8 with the 10. The 10's a pretty low pop, pretty valuable card. The 8, again, not an expensive card, just easy to find. Kinder starting lineup. Let's get off Jordan for a second with the two-time MVP Steve Nash, who sort of led a revolution into this pace and space basketball that we've seen the Warriors perfect in damn near every team in the NBA play. He used to run a preposterous, absurd pick and roll with Amari Stoudemire, and then he had shooters standing in the corner and rim running divers like Sean Marion, who could shoot 3 and dive to the rim and dunk everything back. Of course, Grant Hill was there during that Nash super team with Amari Stoudemire and some of those guys, but Joe Johnson spent some time there. But this is from the 2012 Prism MVP silver prism set that I'm collecting in PSA 10. I should have taken a look at my spreadsheet to see how many I have. I think there's 20 in the set. I might be wrong on that. I think there's 20, and I think I might have 8 or 9. I'm guessing. I am thrilled because I picked up another one for crazy cheap. Now, I bought it from Japan, which I rarely do. I talk to you guys about that all the time. It's not that I have xenophobia or anything like that. I just tend to sort of narrow the sellers that I'm willing to buy from. But this seller from Japan had a really high rating and 100% feedback. And so I was like, it's worth a few $100. So I picked up the Bill Russell for significantly less than I paid for this Steve Nash, believe it or not, which is really eye-popping because I think the only other PSA 10 right now on eBay or that's out there to be had, I think there's an Iverson that's also in Japan and he wants like $700 for it. Well, I'm not paying $700 for a 2012 Prism Silver MVP Iverson card, but I do need it. So anybody out there watching the channel, if by any chance, any of you thousands of people that watch the channel, yes, I can't believe I finally said thousands of people, if you got some silver 2012 MVP PSA 10s, let me know because I'm in the market. I'm looking to buy. So, or if you have a big quantity of raw that you think I could submit and grade and, you know, kind of throw it and see what sticks, let me know. But happy to add the Nash to the collection. I'll do a video soon just kind of giving you an update on some of the, which is a great idea. I'm going to do an update on some of the sets that I'm trying to collect right now because right now I'm trying to collect maybe 6 or 7 different sets out there. A couple of them are soccer. Most of them are basketball, but we'll look at that closer. 1985 Nike Promo Jordan. The thing's huge. It's a gigantic card. This is a PSA 8 copy. I've got a BGS 9.5 copy for my high-end Jordan collection. Again, this card went bananas and ran like crazy in PSA 10 and BGS 9.5. The PSA 8, I've got it pulled up here on Card Ladder. Actually, here's my purchase right here. I bought mine. I remember it was in that class on December 29th because I was jamming those hours in before the end of the year in that legal seminar. I bought mine for exactly $1,000. So I am right there. That was the sale before me. So I upped that comp by 15 cents and bought it for $1,000. And then after that, it's gone 1,025. And after that, it's gone 1,080. So I feel okay that I sort of think we were kind of near the bottom. Obviously, it got down to 750. This is the last 3 months. There's been 16 sales. It's actually up 17% from where it was 90 days ago. If we look at like 6 months, you can see the card was kind of hovering around 1,100. I think we may have hit the bottom and started to tick back up. Again, let's be very clear. This is not a low pop card, okay? It's a 1,497 pop in PSA 8. There you go, right there. It's another 1,000 here in PSA 9, and there's even 171 PSA 10s. PSA 10's a 5-figure card. It's a $10,000 card, though, so a little bit different level there. I've got this one right here, the BGS 9.5 for $3,190. I don't even want to tell you what I paid for. I think I paid like $5,500 or something like that. So I'm getting smashed on that one, no question. But as I was telling you, here's the story that I wanted to show you. Like that, you think that's bad? Down 37% over 6 months. Look at this. Look where someone paid. I don't know if that was a real sale or not, but these certainly, some of these were. So this card was steadily and consistently over 50, certainly in the 30s and 40,000s, and now the card is selling for $10,000. So you can see that rate of growth is a minus 70%. Over the last year, a little more consistent depreciation. Again, it's down, but at least it's consistently down and not quite as steep. And then over the last 6 months, same thing. But it looks like over the last 3 months, we started to kind of even out. It's about right on the number. So up 2.86% for the PSA 10. But again, I have the PSA 9, so much ado about nothing. And then let's keep cranking. Next one is extremely baby card, but it's meaningful. Like I remember when Jordan had to face off against Magic and they just beat the draws off of him. And it was an ass whipping extraordinaire. And it was kind of an awakening and a message to the world that we're here, we're over the hump, we're past the Pistons. It's time for people to catch some ass whippings for about a half a decade. And that's what that signifies. Magic Johnson versus Michael Jordan, following 7 years of waiting. 7 years of waiting to match up with Magic, who was then the torchbearer, right? There was no Kobe, there was no LeBron, it wasn't Kareem anymore. It was Magic and Bird. Bird, and really it ended up being Magic because Bird's back gave out on him. And so by the time we got to the 90s, it was Magic. They finally got to play. And the two players who claimed the league's most valuable player for 5 straight years got to face off in the finals. And I know Magic didn't want to relinquish it. And I think they got out to a 1-0 lead. And then the Bulls came back and swept the next 4, I think, to win 4-1. I might be wrong, but I think it was a 4-1 series right there after the Magic and them escaped with a Game 1 win. But that's a cool card, just showing, again, that's just another reminder of how gigantic Magic Johnson was. The dude was a monster because Jordan was no small dude. Jordan was probably 6'6", 220, something like that. And Magic was just an absolute monster. Moving on, Fleer Team Leaders. This card is extremely expensive in a PSA 10. This is a PSA 8. We got Stacey King in the background. We got Will Perdue in the background. I can't tell whose leg that is on the Bulls, and I can't tell who that is. They might be, I can't tell what team that is. It might be the Heat. I can't tell. Were the Heat there in 1992? Yeah, I think they were. Yeah, Heat came around the late 80s, I believe, because Tim Hardaway was there in the 89 or 90, something like that. Sorry, I'm getting old, so I'm forgetting decades in the past. And then the last card of the day is probably not the biggest because the Nike promo was a $1,000 card in PSA 8, but this is an interesting start. So this is the 1997 UD3 MJ3 set. There's 3 cards in here, the MJ3 1, 2, and 3. This is the 1. This is the easiest to find. I think it's a pop 330 if I recall. The PSA, the MJ3 2 is about half the pop. MJ3 3 is less than 100 pop. So they get more scarce as you go left to right, but these cards sort of piece together. So the left MJ1, MJ3-1, and MJ3-3 are die-cut cards, kind of rounded off, as you can see, like up here at this top right. The card in the middle is actually a regular square rectangular card, and then the card on the end tails off on the other side. So when you put the 3 together, it kind of forms a puzzle, right? It's a 3-piece puzzle or whatever. I've kind of put these off. These are just really good-looking cards, but this is MJ3-1 in a PSA 10, so happy to add it. I'm trying to remember, maybe $300, $400, something like that. So not nothing to sneeze at, not a small card, relatively meaningful card for sure. But picking up 1, and of course, once I pick 1 up, it's a set, right? So I've got to complete this mini set of 3 cards, and I will. I went ahead and looked on eBay, and the other ones are really overpriced right now, so it's just nothing to be had. At some point, they'll show up in an open auction, and I'll pick them up, and I'll probably mega bid. Don't use that against me if you're looking for these cards as well. But that's it, guys. Back to the list. Bunch of baby PSA 8s. The 88 Fleer is a pretty big card, both of them, the All-Star and the base. The PSA 8's a little bit of a bigger card. This is a few $100 for this Nash right here, believe it or not, because it's a pop 1. I should have mentioned that. I didn't. It's a pop 1 Nash, and so I had to pay a little bit of a premium to pick that up, but well worth it because I'm trying to collect that set. And then the MJ3-1 Jordan PSA 10 is a good pickup as well. So that's it. That's mail day number 62. I'm at 17 minutes. Gosh, I talked too long. Hopefully you guys enjoy these mail days. I try to do maybe 1 a week, 1 every 2 weeks. I've actually slowed down my buying because I kind of hyper-focused on selling to build a little bit of a war chest to sort of reallocate some of my money into more Jordan stuff. I've talked about that on my channel. So I've probably sold 1,400 slabbed cards over the last 120 days through either PWCC Weekly Auction or Probstein or Instagram, or just selling them on my own eBay page. Even some direct messages on Instagram. I've moved some cards in that way as well. Basically just transitioning even more of my collection out of some of the modern / ultra modern prospect cards that I've got slabbed that I invested in, and moving that money over into Jordan stuff that I don't yet have, because again, as you always hear from me on this channel, all paths lead to Jordan in the hobby, at least for me. And so that's kind of what I've been doing in 2022, and it'll probably be more the same in 2023. It would be nice if prices pick back up, but it is what it is. I think we've seen the bottom on a lot of these cards. Some of them maybe not even seen it yet. So we'll see. We'll kind of keep our eyes and ears down there and see what's going on in the hobby in 2023. As always, thank you guys for watching. Keep collecting. Hit the like button if you don't mind. It really helps me with YouTube. It takes you 2 seconds. Just hit that like button. Keep collecting. Stay positive in the hobby. Peace.